Hello everyone. Welcome to the course of the survey of major English-speaking countries. Today, we're going to learn Chapter 16, the popular culture of the United States. This lecture is about Lesson A, movies, the records of American popular culture. The term popular culture, according to American scholar John Story, is interpreted as mass culture, which is seen as a commercial culture mass-produced for mass production. This is especially true when American popular culture is concerned. Therefore, popular culture is defined as everything from common culture to folk culture to mass culture, with the forms including music, film, television, advertising, sports, fashion, toys, magazines, and comic books, and cyber culture, and any commodity available for purchase. In many ways, heavily influenced by mass media, the collection of ideas and items of popular culture permeates the everyday life of American society. It is now widely acknowledged that popular culture can and must be analyzed as an important part of U.S. material, economic, and political culture. Pop culture is also one of the country's most lucrative export commodities, making everything from McDonald's fast food to Sandra Bullock's movies popular on the international market. American popular culture has expressed itself through nearly every medium. Today, our focus of this lecture will be the movies and movie industry in the United States. Although the United States has dominated commercial film production for most of the 20th century, movies actually did not originate in America. Enterprising inventors in Europe, such as the Lumière brothers in Paris, were already projecting motion pictures in 1895 with their first projection device. In the United States, similar machines were developed and first used to publicly exhibit movies in New York City in 1896, when Thomas Edison demonstrated the vitascope. Although Edison later included movies on his list of inventions, his vitascope merely improved the work of others. The first American movie studios were built in the New York City area. In 1909, Thomas Edison formed the Motion Picture Patents Company. Meanwhile, many independent film companies moved their studios to a suburb of Los Angeles, which offered them more reliable sunshine as well as distance from Edison's monopoly in the East, Hollywood. A rural suburb in Los Angeles became the America's movie capital after 1913. Early on, actors were not known by name. But in 1910, the star system came into being. The first generation of star actors included Charles Chaplin, William Hart, Greta Garbo, Rudolph Valentino, and Will Rogers. After the First World War, the United States became dominant in the industry, and the motion picture expanded into the area of education and propaganda. As the first half of the 20th century, the American film industry came into the hands of a few powerful companies, which controlled the production, distribution, and exhibition. A studio hierarchy was established that lasted for several generations. It consisted of the five majors: Fox, later known as the 20th Century Fox, MGM, Paramount, RKO, and the Warner Brothers. There were also the Little Three, Columbia, and Universal, specializing in low-budget productions, and the United Artists, a distributor for independent producers. Meanwhile, various attempts to combine pictures and sound had been made. After the Great Depression, Hollywood had quickly recovered economically and entered into an artistic golden age, producing annually over 400 features for about 80 million people a week. Among the first few decades of the 20th century, the most notable attractions were the child star, Shirley Temple, and the film Gone with the Wind, a spectacular epic that for decades remains the highest grossing film in the history. After 1950s, being greatly influenced by the overwhelming majority of television, the movie studios strongly urged technological innovations. Many new types of films emerged: horrors, science fiction, musical, and many others. A change came with the release of Jaws in 1975, a suspense picture that unexpectedly grossed over $100 million by appealing to all ages and both sexes. Filmmakers were now encouraged to speak to the widest possible audience. The result was a series of films given over to spectacle scenes. The movie Star Wars in 1977 cracked the 200 million barrier, and E.T. in 1982 earned over 300 million. While many of these films aroused criticism as the triumph of special effects over any kind of human values, and many movies, including those without spectacular elements, succeeded during this period. The early 1990s saw the development of a commercially successful independent cinema in the United States. Although cinema was increasingly dominated by special effects, such as Terminator in 1991, Jurassic Park in 1993, and Titanic in 1997, many independent films also had significant commercial success, both at the cinema and on home video. During the late years of last century, another movie industry transition began, from physical movie stock to digital cinema technology. The American film industry went global, especially during the first decade of the 21st century. There had been an increasing globalization of US cinema, with co-production of foreign language films gaining popularity in English-speaking and non-English-speaking markets, such as the Chinese language movie Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the Hindi and English movie Slumdog Millionaire. Recently, there has been a revival on 3D film popularity, the first being James Cameron's Avatar in 2009, an epic science fiction which was released in IMAX 3D worldwide. It became the most watched film ever since around the world. But the movies continue to be an integral part of American culture, the one in a state of dynamic changes. The American movie has many features. Individual heroism perhaps is the most obvious and deep-rooted. The self-centered individualism in American movies seems a popular but a common way to save the world, especially with the fighting spirit and the superpowers, creating a large number of great movie figures, such as Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, Superman, and Avengers. A man can do anything to protect Earth from ruining. Characters in films are mostly ordinary people with special capabilities, and they punish evil and promote the use of these powers to save the community. They also have a variety of ordinary living, emotional issues, and pressures from study, work, and family. Although there are problems, but they are never giving up, no matter what kind of crisis they face, And no matter what kind of fatal blow, the heroes never bend to failure. These hero films call for a sense of responsibility, reflecting the inner world of the majority of ordinary citizens, the desire for justice, for power, for attention, sense of mission, and our eagerness to become a hero. While individualism has changed with the development of American society, and the content and expression may have changed as well, but its core emphasis has always been to admit that everyone has the right to choose their own way of life, and no one else can interfere. Besides, love and romance are also the eternal topic in the movies. Each film, more or less, has the shadow of love. Many classics, such as Titanic, A Beautiful Mind, Roman Holiday, are fully showing the people the eternal love and affection. Many people believe that the film about love and affection will undoubtedly have a magic power to narrow the distance between people, making the world a better place to live. With the globalization and expanding of the market, American films gradually have absorbed the large number of traditional elements and attracted the entertainment talents around the world. The movies like Mulan Story, Kung Fu Panda, and other classic Chinese elements of image building diversify the themes and contents of American film production. The pluralism and the diversification make the American film industry a dominant position in the global market. America's leading scientific and technological advancements have prompted a large number of applications of high-tech in the movie, enhancing the competitiveness of films in the global market. With a variety of visual modeling and technical means, American films have created a unique culture of the film, reflecting its infinite creativity. To some extent, the true essence of American culture is the change, and its core idea is the pursuit of the changes of everything. In American movies, especially in science and technology, it highlights this kind of consciousness. The film fantasy and the realistic special effects, as well as luxury, beautiful forms of expression, create one after another legendary science fiction movie. Jurassic Park, Inception, Gravity, Avatar, and many others. These movies not only greatly fulfill the audience with visual satisfaction, but also demonstrate the impact of science and technology development and guide people to think. American film is also interested in shooting the global theme, such as natural disasters, global security, human and nature, thinking about the future of a human civilization. But to some extent, many movies are limited by visual shock to stimulating the audience's nerves. The theme also circulates between the hero and saving the world, too straightforward and superficial, and lack of deep accumulation and connotation. It is difficult to touch people's inner world because the hero appears to be too unrealistic to be true. In this increasingly digital age, film has become an essential of the modern city leisure and providing people with spiritual food. American movies have a unique vitality and creativity to make it an irreplaceable position in the international popular culture. This is also the inevitable result of American cultural and commercial system, which takes the audience as the main commercial object. In other words, it is commercialization.